Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video. Not about playing trombone exactly, but about something else brought up by a viewer named Zachary Barker. You should make a video sometime about marketing yourself as a musician as well as getting gigs. I'm still in high school and I have like zero idea of how you get into the scene. So first of all, Zachary, do not feel bad about not understanding the freelance world, which is I assume what we're talking about today. It's a very nebulous, opaque thing, and it's not really explained anywhere in any school programs or anything, even by your friends that are in it. You just have to figure it out. So I will try and fit my explanation of this very complicated subject into the next few minutes. And I will preface this with the fact that while I have done this for the last 5 years full time, and I'm relatively busy doing random gigs and teaching and whatever, I'm by no means the world's foremost expert on this, and I'm not the busiest freelancer in LA doing multiple studio sessions every day and playing in all the top orchestras and blah, blah, blah. I'm not that person yet. I hope someday to, climb the rungs up to a closer level to that. Not there yet. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. Let's start with Zachary's statement here. You should make a video sometime about marketing yourself. So, I think this is a misnomer that I should dispel to a degree, that you need to market yourself in order to get gigs. Especially in the social media age, we see a lot of people posting a lot of trombone content. And I don't really have a problem with this, per se. I think it's fun to watch people's practice videos and be like, wow, that person's way better than me. Scroll, scroll, scroll. I don't really have a problem with this, but this stuff doesn't really lead to getting called for gigs. I'm sure it does sometimes. I think I've heard of at least one person who got called for like the Super Bowl, the people in the background with horns and stuff. I'm pretty sure one of them was found because they had one of the top Instagrams that somebody looked through. That's a pretty outside case, and those people actually didn't play, I think. I think they were just sidelining. So it looked like they were playing, but I don't think they were. In any case, that just doesn't really lead to getting paid for things. Obviously, I have an online presence. Ta-da! I'm in one right now. But, and like I said, there's lots of people who know who I am, but it doesn't lead to me getting gigs necessarily. And in some cases, it probably hurts a little bit to have like too much stuff, or to be really trying to like promote yourself and being like really pushy about it. That can hurt you in a pretty serious amount sometimes, because your fellow musicians will be like, wow, being really pushy with all these like ads about master classes, and you don't want to be that person. You want to just, if you have an online presence, be very chill about it. Do it for fun, not because you think you're going to get paid for it at some point. I do this for fun. Every once in a while I give some lessons, or I get ad revenue like every 6 months, but I do this for fun. And I want to stress that if you do have an online presence, don't think about it as marketing yourself or advertising or promoting yourself, but just do it because you want to, because otherwise it's going to be a very kind of negative thing in basically all aspects. So let's talk about the actual rule. There's basically just one overarching umbrella rule of the freelance world, and that is people need to know you exist. That's it. That's the whole entire thing all at once. People need to know you exist. You can check off every single rule underneath the umbrella rule. Let's talk about those real quick. You can be the best player on the planet. You can be the most professional person ever. You go everywhere in a tuxedo, even though that probably wouldn't be very professional. You're super nice to everybody. You don't make any weird demands. You get there a day early for every gig. You're just so early. You never ask any weird questions. Like, you bring everything you could possibly need to every gig. You're always super warmed up, and everything about you is perfect. But if nobody knows you exist, you don't get called. You have to have people know you exist. And I know a lot of people, at least a few people, I can think of several examples from people that I know who checked a lot of these boxes. Really good players, cool people to hang out with. They show up early. They know how to play this style. They bring everything that's necessary. they, etc. There's a lot of things you can lump into these rules, but not enough people knew that they existed, so they didn't get called for things. And there's other people who check off most of those boxes, maybe not all of them quite as well. Maybe they're just like okay at playing, and they're fun to hang out with and stuff. But people know they exist, and there's plenty of people out there that play just good enough, that are fun to hang out with, that show up on time, and zillions of people know they exist, so they get a lot of calls. And that's pretty much it. People need to know you exist. So it's very important to work up all these skills, playing well and being fun to hang out with, and all those really important things, showing up on time. It's so important to work those things up, but it's also important to manage your network and always constantly just be making it a little bit larger by making more people know you exist. And I don't mean like just walking up to people and being like, hi, I'm Aiden, I play trombone, here's my business card, please give me calls, thank you, next. Don't do that. You don't want to be that person either, but just be super chill and hang out, and people will ask for your number sometimes, and just give it out and just be cool. And that network constantly gets larger, because all it takes is you're in school, for instance, you're in sophomore in college, and you have a composer friend who puts together a thing and they ask you to play on it, and you do it and you do a pretty good job. And later that composer is out of college and someone goes up to them and they're like, hey, do you have a trombone player for an Easter gig? I have one trombone player, 2 trumpets, and I just can't find anybody. Everybody's busy. They're like, oh yeah, I know this kid at this college. Here's his number. And you get the number, and you end up getting called for this Easter gig. And you go to the Easter gig, you play pretty well. And one of the trumpet players is like, oh, this kid's pretty good. I'm putting together this brass quintet. Would you mind playing this concert? It's $150. And by and by, the network just gets a little bit larger. It gets a little bit larger. Sometimes it takes doing stuff for free, doing stuff you don't like, expanding your horizons. Maybe it's like, hey, can you play tenor trombone on this thing? And you're like, ooh, not super good at tenor trombone, but I do have 3 weeks. I do have an instrument. I'm going to put in a bunch of time, and by the time I get to this, I'm going to be ready. And boom, your network just got way bigger because you just added a new instrument and a new skill. I'm not going to say yes to everything. There are gigs out there that just suck, and maybe they won't enlarge your network that much, or it's a skill you just straight up don't have. I can think of a couple times where people are like, hey, can you play trombone in this jazz quintet? And I'm like, no, I can't do that. That's outside of my skill set. I do not want to take, and it's like, next week or something. I'm not going to spend every living minute of the next few days learning how to improvise so I can embarrass myself on this gig. No, I'll give you the name of somebody I know who's very good at that. Or, hey, can you play piano for this? I'd be like, oh man, there are way better piano players out there than me. You want to call one of them, not me. So expand your horizons safely as you go. But that's pretty much it. People need to know you exist, and you need to meet the bare minimum requirements for more people to know you exist. That's pretty much it. And that's why I recommend people go to colleges in places that they want to work, because that college, like I brought up earlier, gives you a big network just kind of automatically. As long as you're, relatively competent. There we go. Wow, words. As well as you're as I can't think of words. If you're competent and you're easy to work with and you're cool to hang out with, you're going to get more calls, especially if you have this giant network that you get automatically from a college. It can be undergrad, it can be grad school, it can be doctorate, post-grad, but that gives you a lot of network in a new city. So that's why I recommend going to a school in a place that you want to play, which is what I did, and I automatically got a network from that. So again, overarching rule, people need to know that you exist. And then check off all the boxes underneath that. Be good at playing, show up on time, wear the right stuff, be cool to hang out with, all that kind of stuff. But again, people need to know you exist. And that's pretty much it. That's all I got. See y'all next time, and I'm going to drink some water. That's a lot of talking. Bye-bye.